Here I am all on CP time, but at least I made it. The Friday evening traffic, and then, people don't know how to drive, and it just was awful. So it took me forever to get home. So here I am a few minutes late, but I made it. I'm safe. I'm in one piece. My car's not wrecked. I'm good. So tonight is our Friday monthly girls' night out where we just sit around and talk about whatever interests you guys. I don't really, lead this discussion. I mean, sometimes I have stuff to say, but generally this is your show. You say what it is interesting to you, something that you may have seen online you want to talk about, something that happened to you that you want to talk about, something that you saw on the show the other day that you want to ask me about. This is, kind of a viewer led discussion. Um, I got some stuff. I think Vanna sent me this, and Vanna sent a couple of things. Diana sent something, but I'm not sure who sent what. And of course, I left a couple of the things I printed out in my car. So we'll see what I have and who sent it in. But, some stuff to kind of get you guys going. That link, let me see, let me type the link in here. If you have something that you want to say versus type in the chat, you can click this link and it puts you into the studio. So if you on your phone or you have a computer with a headset, it's like being on a telephone, but it's all computer based. So you don't have to be on camera or anything like that. It's all voice oriented. What's happening, Anna? Shay is here. I'm glad. I'm glad when Shay is here because it makes me breathe easier. So, like I said, this is you guys. So what you want to talk about? What you want to talk about? What's bothering you? What did you see? I'll tell you something that's bothering me. The letters from the Wednesday night show. I don't really understand what's happening with young women these days. Who is teaching these girls nothing? Because that seems to be what's going on. They're so confused about how to conduct themselves in relationships, how to deal with men, even like on their jobs. I'm not talking about dating relationships. I'm talking about males on their jobs, neighbors. You know what I mean? There's like such a weakness about the women these days, such fear of standing up for themselves and fear of what people are going to think about them and of not being nice and of hurting somebody and all this kind of stuff. They're elevating other people above themselves, even complete strangers. They put more importance on what those people might need or want or think than they do themselves. And I find that just amazing. I don't even know what to do with that. I just don't understand it. Yeah, you're right. They're horrifying because it's frightening to think that somebody's going to go out into the world and live their life like that and interact with people at such a deficit, with such no boundaries, no spine, no willingness to check folks, no ability to say no or stop or don't treat me like that. And who do you think you are? And stuff like that. Oh, I have trouble with confrontation. You don't have trouble with confrontation. You're just weak. That's what that means. Just call it what it is. You're weak and you're spineless. And I mean, I hate to be like, but I mean, that's what it is. If you are in a situation with somebody and they're doing you wrong, they're infringing on your rights, they're violating your boundaries, all stuff, and you are scared to say something because, I'm afraid of, I don't deal well with confrontation. That means you just stupid. I'm sorry. And when you act like that, people are going to take advantage of you because they can. So whatever it is that you're afraid of, it's going to happen because you don't say no, you don't say stop, you don't leave the situation, you don't turn your back on the person, you don't even block them on the phone. You don't go to HR when they're doing stuff at work. You just let these men do whatever they want to you. It's just amazing to me. It's just terrible. It's terrible. So, if y'all have any insight into why that is, I'm certainly open to hear it. See, I got my headphones in today, so y'all could call and tell me what's happening. Okay, let's see what. Oops, sorry, I said Lana. Oh, a new person. Well, thank you for coming. Now let's see but since a lot of us were taught to be people pleasers. Can you explain that to me? Who taught you that, and how did they teach you that? And I'm not being mean. I'm not, trying to embarrass you or anything like that. I seriously want to know, because if I know what parents are doing wrong, then I can address it. So I need you to tell me, and anyone else who has had that experience where you were raised to be a people pleaser, tell me what happened. How did your parents give you that message of the other people around you? What did they say and what did they do? And then I can address it. I can check them. I can tell them about themselves. But I don't know. So I mean, I don't have any personal knowledge of that kind of thing, because nobody in my family acts like that. And those, as growing up, that's who I was, you're a kid, that's who you're around, your family. So I need you guys to explain that to me. Explain it to me so I could understand. Let's see what Chrissy got to say here. Hmm. Yeah, I've heard that dozens of times. I'm learning, heard that so many times. Your fear of confrontation. Oh, I see. Well, there's two ways that could go. Either you join in or you run from it. So you run, try to be the peacemaker. Basically, you're running from the yelling. So you try to smooth everything over. And, then there's others who just like, well, if you can't beat them, join them. And so they start yelling too. So that could go two ways, but I can see how you got there. Okay. Let's see what she said. I was like that too. Okay. You didn't know. So you learned by example. That was the example that she set for you. Okay. I can see that. See, John B.F. But you complain at work about anything, they'll just fire you. No, they don't. It's all in how you do it. I'll tell you this. If you complain at work to a supervisor, you have to have a solution. So when you present the problem, present a solution, preferably 2 or 3 that would satisfy you. Then your supervisor, without having to think too much, they just pick A, B, or C. That's how you resolve a problem. So for example, say you're going to, some man has been harassing you or something. So you go and say, so and so has really been crossing the lines here, according to our company policy, because most companies have one about sexual harassment. He's violated Article C, D, E, and F. Now, I'm not necessarily seeking to get this guy fired, but what I do want you to do as a manager, enforce the policy. I want you to speak to him, and I want him to be put on notice that his behavior is inappropriate, that it's against company policy, and that is to cease and desist with all that. That's what I would like to see. Do you think something like that is possible? If you'd like, I can be in the room with you. Otherwise, it's a conversation the two of you can have. Which would you prefer? That's how you do it. So you put them on notice that it's in the violation of the law. You see how I did that so smooth? I didn't threaten. I just made a statement. I asked a question. Do you think you can do that? You think that's a violation of, you know what I mean? So it's how you present it. So if you present things, if you always complaining, but you don't never have no solutions for the person to fix the problem, because they're busy. I mean, they can't come, they're not babysitters. So you have to have a solution to whatever the issue is. Another thing, like, okay, I don't play. I like to do my own thing. I've been like that ever since I was a kid. It was great as a kid because I was the only girl. So I always got to do what I wanted to do. And sometimes my brothers would assist. But, most of the time they was out of my face. So you go to these jobs and, they have this thing where they want to like make a team, team building, let's cross training, working together. What do they call it? Being a team player. Deb is not a team player. I'm not. I don't mind telling anybody I'm not. I'm very open and honest about it. I am not a team player. So I don't even tell that lie on interviews and stuff. So, um, this project. Ooh, excuse me. I have to see. Excuse me. This project comes up, and they want me to work with some people on their staff. Well, I don't like to work with people's staff. You work with your staff. That's your job to work with your staff. That's not my job. And so, you come in there and then they start talking about what they want this team to do and this and that. And so I have to say, well, I let it explain this, this contract that we have here. The only name on that contract is mine. So the results that you're expecting that are on this contract, you're expecting me to deliver those, right? Well, yes. I said, so nowhere in my contract does it say anything about me working with partners. Now, I can do that, but we need to modify the contract because when they slow me down or detour my energy or get off track in the meetings and start talking about stuff that's irrelevant and we don't make the progress that you are paying me to make, then that's going to be on you. Now, the option here is that you tell me what you want and I deliver it. If I have a question, of course, I'll ask your staff. If I need something from them, of course, I'll reach out to them. But for you to try to force us into a partnership because that's your company culture or whatever, that's not going to really work because you're not going to get the results that you're expecting to get by this date that we have on this contract. If that's important to you, then you have to give me the freedom to work in the way that is the best for me. That's going to give you what you want, the high quality product that you're paying me to deliver. How does that sound to you? Says Deborah. And then every time they look at you and they blink because see, they forget I'm not your employee. I'm not under them rules and guidelines that you're talking about. I'm here for 90 days, 120, whatever, whatever. And I'm going to do what it is that you want me to do. And then I'm going to boop, deuced out. So it's real interesting. It's interesting. But I know a lot of people, they get that kind of stuff at the job. They want you to work in a team. That's why I never remarried because, that checking in and all that shit. I'm not going to tell you nothing. Leave me alone. Let me scroll down and start to see what everybody's talking about. Yes. It's funny because I look at some of the stuff I did, years and years ago, and it's like, wow, that still applies. It's like it's caught in a time warp. You are not allowed your own what? So how did I'll say if you had a different opinion, what they tell you that you couldn't think that was wrong or bad or something? What? The guys be doing the absolute most. I am convinced most people should not have children. Oops, I'm sorry about that. I meant to do this one right here. To be nice, but these men are nothing nice at all. Exactly. Remember that interview with Shay Michelle where she said men are not nice people? And it caused such an uproar. People just went crazy because she said that, but we ain't seen nothing to disprove her yet. Your mom taught you to be a people pleaser. My dad was always angry about something, so she kind of went along to get along. It was a way of maintaining the peace in the household. She could have also picked up a blunt object and clocked him, knocked his ass out. That would have kept the peace in the household too. It would have been quiet as a church house mouse because he would have been unconscious. Then he would woke up, he'd be like, "Oh, what happened? What had happened? What? And then she could bop him again." See, she's different from me. It's never men that talks like this saying they're hurt from relationships. It's always women. Well, that's not quite true. But they'll talk about they're hurt. They hurt different. But we'll talk about that in a minute because I printed out something. Wait, where did I print it out? Oh shit, it's probably still on the printer. Oops. I forgot to pull it off. Let's see what Jean Pierre says again. Women in the lower level corporates have to manage those above them. Yep. But you know what? Even at the high levels, you still have to manage up. If you're a VP, you have to manage the president. If you're the president, You have to manage the chairman. If you're the chairman, you got to manage the board of directors. It's never ending. Whoever is above you, you have to manage them, girl. That I mean, I understand what you're saying, but that's just a part of life. Even as a kid, someone you got to kind of manage your parents. That's why we grow up and we don't really tell our parents everything, and they hear about shit later, right? 20, 30 years, we'd be like, oh yeah, remember that time, something, something. And we tell them what were we doing as children? We were managing those above us. So that is just a part of life. You can't get away from that. It's all in how you look at it, though. It's a necessary evil. And that's what we do. That is what we do. So that in itself, I mean, it's great you start your own business. Don't get me wrong. That's not going to be something that's strictly attributed to being in the corporate world. That happens everywhere, every relationship, parent child, from parent child on up. Let's see what Pink Butterfly got to say here. You learn to be quiet. Oh, okay. That is a good point. That is a good point. Yeah, I could see where that would happen. But other people think you look cute. And that's when, yes, you're cute to say, I don't care what other people think. I think what I think. It takes, I don't know, what kind of kid do you have to be? Like a little asshole. A little asshole. And it's nothing, I don't think, I mean, of course, I don't remember. I don't think anybody taught me that because family stories about me being a little jerk started when they start remembering back when I was 3. I would say it's just, I mean, stuff that is just rude, to tell you the truth, it's just rude. And I would just be there saying stuff to people and just like devastating people, just slaying them right and left, and just walk down the hall with my little dolly and just be like, what you want from me at 3 and 4 years old? So I think it's just a personality trait I was born with, being a little jerk. So, this stuff is just interesting to me to hear, you know, what's going on. I mean, if I had different parents, I probably would have been impacted too. I mean, we can project, conjecture and all that stuff, but who do we don't really know. Can't see into the past. What's she saying? But remember when they get a divorce and she wipes off financially, she pay child support. Yep, that's one. But they also get hurt when she leaves them, cheats on them. Every time that a woman turns, they try to approach, and we're not even talking about it in a relationship, but try to approach and get her number and want to talk to her and stuff, and she turns them down, they get hurt. Every time they get rejected, they feel hurt because they just have this expectation that's so grand and wonderful that every woman on the planet should want them because they have a job and they went to school and they don't have a prison record or something. I don't know what they be thinking. Delirious and just delirious. Yeah, they do be like, don't talk back, but who gives a shit about that? I'm going to talk back anyway. I'm going to tell you what I think, whether you want to hear it or not. You just have to decide, especially now that you guys are adults. It's one thing when you're a kid. I understand that, you're scared, you're little, you don't really feel like you can fight back. I get it. But unfortunately, a lot of you still maintain that attitude and that belief system, and you still operate like you're a child and you're in your 30s. So when your parents be coming at you sideways or any other adult, you don't check them because you shrink mentally and emotionally. You're still that 7 or 8-year-old that feels afraid to speak up and talk back. But you're not. You're a grown woman now. You drive, you got a job. Somebody get out of pocket, you can call the police. You can, kung fu or judo or something, flip-flopping people around like bam, bam. I mean, you don't have to let people talk to you like that. You don't have to let people treat you like that because you're innocent and vulnerable and you're too weak to fight back. That's not the case anymore. You've grown now. Okay. So they start talking to you crazy. Speak up. Get your mind out of childhood. If you need to get some therapy for that, do it. It's nothing wrong with this. No embarrassment there. A lot of people need, I really think people who had a damaged childhood should get counseling. Depriving of life, a whole emotional reality, because part of you is still stuck in the past. So if you need a little help getting over that hurdle, that's fine. Do that because you deserve that. You deserve to be going to go forward in your adult life and be able to live and experience everything that comes your way, and all the joy, all the happiness, without being blocked by the past. I go see that would be very hurtful and damaging. So, think about that and get you some therapy about it. Because remember, look in the mirror. Okay, you ain't 7 no more. Somebody get out of pocket to you and start talking crazy, you can knock the crap out of them. You know what I mean? You couldn't do that when you were 7. Well, now at 27, 37, you can. So put that all into perspective. You don't have to take that stuff, people talking all crazy to you. Oh, oops, I already did that one. Let me scroll down. Yeah, they do. They want to blame you for it too. Well, I, did this because of this now. And it just seems like the only emotions men want to let themselves feel is either anger or horniness. Everything else seems to be off limits. They're embarrassed about it, ashamed of it, or something like that. Okay, that's old school dudes. These new school dudes have more emotions than any woman could ever have. Oh my God. I talked about that the other day. They be emoting all over the place. It's just ridiculous. It's like they just need some Kotex or something. It's like you are just like so damn emotional. It don't even make any sense to be like this. And you call yourself a man. You be crying like a little bitch. I can't stand it. I cannot stand it. And then they want to, wonder why no woman wants them. It's like, because, unless she's lesbian, she's not going to want you because you're just worse than a woman could ever hope to be. So what's that going to be like? If she's not, gay, lesbian, whatever, then she's not going to want to be in a relationship with you because it's like be dating a woman. You need to man up. Where's your testosterone? Shit, put it out the freezer and put it in your body, back in your body where it belongs. Yeah, girl, I'm telling you, they be crying like that. My feels, you hurt my feels. Drives me crazy. It drives me nuts. And let's not even get started about them hoteps. I haven't talked about them for a long time, but I happened to be driving through Oakland. The sun was out today. So I had my sunroof open and my music was bumping, and here I'm going down the street. I only listen to jazz, but some of the jazz would be popping. I just want you to understand it's called urban jazz. So I'm sitting there, and so, this dude, I could see him on the corner and he was talking about he had this whole teppery thing going on with his dashiki or whatever they call it, and his crown on his head. And he's just talking about, my sister, my sister. I'm like, oh my God, please just go away. Oh, Jesus. That's why I hate going into Oakland. It's either homeless people that smell like pee, or it's like, and they be pushing carts and stuff and just looking all sad and sorry and miserable. Or you see like every good, like teenagers just pregnant up the yin yang. And I wonder what you was thinking. Or is hoteps or some other kind of dusty. You just can't get away from it. Just too many of them. So I try not to go into Oakland. Ooh, I really try not to. I can't take it. Yeah, the dust is high. That's probably why I sneeze, because I just got home and the dust was still in my nostrils. Had to sneeze it out. I don't know about coming to America because this is real life. Okay, this is real life. They are dusty. They're dusty. Yeah, girl, they making me they making me switch things. That's what it feels like. That's exactly what it feels like. As you be like, wait a minute, who is the girl here? Well, I mean, not all of it's the style by Chrissy, but when you go into downtown Most downtowns have like a seedy part. I mean, this is nationwide, a seedy part. And they're doing a lot of redevelopment. All these young white folks that moved in and took over. And so it's changing, but they're still there because there's a lot of tenement hotels there where people, who's on probation, who's on, just released from the halfway house, or the social services done put them in there because they homeless and they paying for the room or something. I mean, so it's some of everybody downtown. These people don't have nothing to do. They don't have no job, so they just wander the streets all day. Just whatever they homeless, jobless people do, that's what they be doing, just walking up and down the street and just bothering people. So that's what you see. And I'm like, oh, I can't all of this. It just does something to my nerves. My nerves, as my grandmother used to say. Yeah, exactly. This is America these days. It's just the way it is. You can't really get away from the dust. You just got to deal with it. So you guys have anything that you want to talk about? I could talk about dusties all day, but I don't really want to. Let's talk about, I wanted to talk about when right after I got over the stroke, one of the things, well, as I was in my recovery, as soon as I could talk halfway well enough, one of the things the therapist said is, what you need to do is get back into doing the things that you're used to doing. Your body will remember it. It'll help your brain repattern and it'll help you recover faster. So I'm like, well, what do I always do? I make videos. So I'm at my cousin. I had my laptop there. My voice was raspy as hell. I had to order some Mickey Mouse headphones from Amazon because all my good equipment was here at the house. And I was making videos. And one of them was a 3-video set on disrespect in relationships. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I put a lot of work into it. And it's 3 videos with, I think, 7 points in each one. It's a set. What amazed me is how many young women don't even understand what disrespect is. You know how I figured that out? By what they take. By the ways they make excuses for these ways these dudes talk to them and treat them. The way that they assume that means that he cares about them, but, he was just drinking, he was mad, he was whatever. They don't really understand. A man who doesn't respect you can't love you. So whatever you're doing there, you're wasting your time. Men who respect you can't, they don't have to love you, but at least they respect you. But without respect, there can be no love. It's like a virtual pedestal. It doesn't have to be a real one, but a virtual pedestal where he don't want to mess this up because you're that important to him. His relationship with you is that important. The marriage to you is that important. The family he's built with you is that important. So he's not about to screw it up. Soon as he screws it up, that means the disrespect is gone. It doesn't matter the respect is gone. It doesn't matter what they say about, but I love you though. That was just this. No, what that meant was in that moment, for that period of time where you thought about doing this up until the time you completed the deed, you lost respect for me somewhere in there. You didn't care about a relationship anymore. You didn't care about our marriage. You didn't care about our kids. You cared about yourself. So there was no respect there. There was no sense of, if I do this, I'm these people's lives. You didn't care. All you cared about was self. So that meant you lost respect. And so this relationship is over. But most women don't understand that. A man who respects you is not going to hurt you like that. He would rather die than do something like that to you. So you have all these dudes out here corner cutting and doing all this stuff, hopping online and sliding into people's DMs and stuff. Ladies, they have no respect for you at all. So you have to understand, what is respect to you? How important is respect to you in a relationship? That would be something to talk about. You love that series? Oh, well, thank you. See, she said, let me put that on the screen. She said, I love that series. Oops, what did I do here? Why can't I click right? Yeah, that was one of the first videos I did after, I was and I listened to my voice and it's real raspy and stuff, but My vocal cords hadn't recovered fully yet, but I got it done, and that it helped. The thinking, the planning, the writing out, uh, what I perceive to be signs of the 21 signs of disrespect. I put a lot of thought into it, and it took me longer to make that. It probably took me about a week to get that all together. Something I could have done in a couple of hours prior to the stroke, but it took me time. But it did happen. My brain did get it together, and I did do it. So I was real proud of myself. So out of you might see that video and think, man, this ain't that spectacular for a person who just had 2 strokes. That was some miraculous shit right there. Okay, because my cousins helped me with the graphics. I had to teach them how to do it. Put the type on there and stuff what I wanted to say, but they helped me. But still, I did most of it myself. Yes, respect is important, Lana. But how many women really connect those kinds of behaviors to respect? Like, say you're with a dude, and a girl wrote in about this the other day, how her boyfriend hurts her. Like he hits her, like slaps on the booty so hard that it leaves a bruise. So that's not a love tap. That's not a sign of affection and sexiness. He's hurting her. He's trying to hurt her. Or he does, everything, all the stuff he was doing is like, he's bruising her. He just dogging her out. And she's like, oh, making all these excuses. And she doesn't understand, judging by the letter, that this is all disrespect and that she should leave this dude alone. I'm not going to take it. Even if they do something like they look at me and they say, well, you should do such and such with your hair, with your makeup, I just want to try to cap on my eyebrows. This was years ago, but I still remember I went off on him. You don't tell me nothing about what I need to do. When did your ass become a stylist? Are you such a world class, where's your fashion show in Paris? Okay, what line of clothing have you designed to have in the stores? What designer handbags have you made? What famous hairstylist are you that you should tell me anything? So, that kind of stuff. I don't listen when men start trying to criticize me. I don't care what they have to think, because I'm like, your opinion is invalidated by me, because I don't give a shit what you think. I think you're right. I think you're right, and I think you just win the dishwasher. It's imaginary dishwasher, so don't get excited. But, I have to agree with you. It's such a different environment from when I was growing up. I just can't believe the stuff that these girls take. Man, I just have to think, if I even thought about taking some stuff like that, my daddy and my brothers would have jumped in that pickup truck and rode out on somebody, and it would have been all bad for him. Mm-mm. I still remember, I told you about the time my brother heated up this. I think he was trying to do some kind of prank. I still don't understand. He don't even know what he was thinking. At least that's the way he plays it. He had this like little skewer thing that you put in turkeys and you lace them up. This fool went to our gas stove and he heats it up. I'm at the sink washing dishes. And he comes up behind me on this side right here and he holds it right here, right? I didn't know that's what he was doing. That's what he was doing. He was holding it here out of sight of my peripheral vision. And then he called my name. So, of course, I turned in that direction, and that hot metal went on my cheek right here. Burned the shit out of me. I started screaming. My parents run down the stairs, and here's my brother still holding the evidence. My daddy, oh my God, he tried to kill him. And he's like, what are you doing to your sister? So then I had to go to the emergency room, and they banned. I mean, it's no scar or anything. Now you got medical treatment right away. But it was like my father just like went crazy. He just went crazy on him. It's like, how dare you think you're gonna do something like that to your sister? And my mother, was scared because he was like hitting him so much. But I bet you he never did anything like that to me again. He never did nothing did he ever do, because he learned his lesson. Yeah, very sad and very stupid. And I still the hell he was. I mean, I'd ask him about it every now and then, but he's like, I don't know. I just lost my mind for a minute. I'm like, wow. Yeah, as if a woman does. Tell it, girl. Tell it. That's what I'm saying. They need to put a thing on here where you could do a like after on the comment. That would be great. I'm gonna suggest that option. That is it right there in a nutshell. and it's like, and then the men, the boyfriends want to talk about. Remember the girl who had her boyfriend said she didn't look good in a dress and she was feeling all bad and bullied and stuff. And it's like, why do they say these things to these girls that are intending to break them down and hurt them emotionally and just devastate them? And then I'm listening to that and I'm like, okay, well, I mean, you can't stop them from saying it. You can't stop them from saying it a second time because you leave them alone. But the first time you have no power to stop him because he's been cool since you met him. And then all of a sudden he pops off at the mouth with some nonsense. So then you have a decision to make. And that's when the Jeopardy music plays. Do, 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 do. What you gonna do with this dusty fool? And so you sit there and you think, wow, but these girls stay with the dude. Deb would be done immediately. I mean, just I don't even think about it. That's probably why my dad used to say I never was in love because I just didn't give a shit. You do something that crosses me and you're done. We're done here, sir. Take your little hush puppies and your bubble gum and go on where you going. Exactly. That's true. That's true, style by, because if you respect yourself, anybody who doesn't respect you the way that you respect yourself, you would immediately have no interest and no use for that person. None at all. They would be so dismissed from your world. See, I'm like, if you ain't reflecting back on me the wonderfulness that I believe that I am, then you're like, you blocking my sun. You need to get out of the way. Get out of the way. You blocking my joy here. Yes. Not to mention some good nook. You need that too. Should all be rolled into one. What did I say? What? I must have missed something. What would I say back to what? I missed. Button must have asked a question and I missed it. Ooh. I'm looking. What would I say back to what, Button? I'm confused. Let's see. Who comments on your appearance negatively? Oh, I can tell you what I've said. Yeah, the eyebrow, you remember the eyebrow example. For y'all who never heard this story, this was so long ago. I was so young. I was still young and cute in those days. Anyway, I had went to this club, right? I met this dude. And so then the next day, we both worked downtown San Francisco. So he's like, oh, let me take you to lunch. So we sit down, we go to the restaurant. I tell him, I'll just meet you there because I, work near there. And he's like, okay, I'm not too far. I'll hop on over to a cab and I'll meet you there too. So I met him there. So we, you have to wait at the door, right? And they seat you. So they seat you and we're looking at the menus. And he looks over his menu and he tells me, you should shape your eyebrows up, tweeze your eyebrows because they're too heavy. And I said, what? Because I was not really believing was hearing what I was hearing. And then he said it again. And I was like, okay, well, who told you that you was the eyebrow sheriff of the world? And other choice things I told him about himself. And then I just said, you know what? I'm out of here. I picked up my purse and I walked the fuck out. And then I went back to work, stopped and got me a sandwich or something and took my, went back to work. And they're like, oh, we thought you were going out to lunch. I said, I did, but now I'm back. Yeah, I just left his ass sitting there. I'm not going to argue with you about my eyebrows. And I'm not going to indulge your fucking opinion about what's on my face. That don't have nothing to do with you. And it's like when they do stuff like that, though, it's a test because they're trying to see how needy you are for validation. It's the first step in them getting control over you, ladies, and you don't get it. That's why I made that video called Control Your Emotions, because you have to stay neutral, especially when you first meet a dude, because that's when they're going to run their games because they got to test you. They got to see what kind of woman you are, what kind of resolve you have, and what kind of self-esteem that you have. So they're going to run these little tests. And most of you, I'm sorry to say, don't pass them. So he's gonna try to criticize you in some way. And you can either say fuck you and get up and walk away like I did. Because I mean, I knew the dude for what, 5 minutes? I didn't even feel like cussing him out. Or if it's someone that have more of a relationship with, then you take a deep breath and you read him the riot act. And you tell him how much you don't give a shit about what he thinks, who told him he could think anyway. And thinking man, right? Somebody posted thinking man in the same sentence is an oxymoron because y'all ain't capable. You more emotional than women. And I would have said, you just say whatever you feel because at that moment, he has removed the barrier of decency and respect that you would show him because he came for you. So when they come for you like that, they're trying to devastate you and make you get in your feelings and devastate you and make you feel bad about yourself so that he has the upper hand. Because if you feel bad about yourself, then he can come back and say, oh, well, I didn't really mean it. I still think you just now. So then now you reward it like a puppy. You got a milk bone. So he can just figure out that he can yank your chain back and forth, back and forth. Whereas if you just say neutral or you tell him about himself, say, well, you can say that about me, but let's talk about you since we on that subject. And then you get him back so that he understands, maybe I better not fuck with her because she gonna hurt my feels too. That wasn't part of my game. This was supposed to be one way. But now she done read me and I'm sitting here looking stupid. So, you have a choice. And it depends on your personality and your attitude, what kind of woman you are. But one thing you don't never do is let him know that he hurt you. You fire back. He light his ass up like it's the 4th of July. He says some foul, funky stuff to you. You say foul, funky stuff right back. That's how you have to do them. And then they know not to mess with you. And if he escalates, he want to try to put his hands on you something, then you stab his ass. Like my friend, she stabbed her husband, and then she drove him to the emergency room and told him he better say he got robbed, or what they call it. He got and they took his wallet or something because he was scared of her. But he deserved that. He had a baby that was 3 or 4 months old. He took the baby out because he mad at her. He took the baby out. It didn't take the baby and no diapers, no food, no clothes, no blankets, no nothing. Just snatched the baby up and took the baby out. So it's nighttime when he bring the baby back. The baby had on the same diaper all fucking day. Baby was just all fucked up and crying, starving, all this stuff. It was child abuse. And she stabbed his ass. She doinked him good. He was bleeding all over the place. That nigga was scared because that she was going to do it again or hit him in a vital organ or something, or a vital place. So she said, I'm going to take you to the emergency room so they can fix you up, but you better not ever do anything like this again. And when you get there, you're going to tell them that you got robbed on the street and make it home. And that's why there's blood in our house and all over. And he was like, okay. And that's what he did. And then after that, they got a divorce. Oh, she was no joke. She about 4'9", but she is savage. Yeah, she showed him, you're not going to treat my baby like that. But I was like, what? And, he did that to get back at her because he was mad. He going to hurt the baby like that. The baby was innocent, and that's what he decided to do. Yeah. Oh, that's that fantasy that they want. Yeah, but then you got to remember, T Diamond, that is true for the girls who want to be the girls who are low self-esteem, who seek validation. That's what I'm telling you. That's why they do those tests early on in the relationship. They need, when you first meet them, it's not even a relationship yet. They do those tests because that's exactly why they're doing them. They want to see what kind of self-esteem you have. And if they can talk you out your drawers and dog you out, you continue to sleep with them. They don't have to take you on a date. They don't have to do this for you. They don't even have to talk to you nice. And when they really get into it, then they can abuse you in various ways and you still stay. That's what those kind of dudes are looking for. So that's what I'm saying. At the beginning, you have to be alert. You have to listen to everything that they say. And as soon as they get out of pocket, you got to either walk away, or if you have enough nerve, then you check them hard, tell them about themselves, and then you walk away. But I'm telling you, any dude who, I mean, you just met him and he's coming at you like that, that's nothing that you should stick around for because he's already on a bad path. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. They are the best they're going to be at the beginning. So if he's already underground at the outset, then you know your relationship, if you ever had one with him, would be garbage. Yeah, I'm not getting jealous. I don't give a shit what you do. You shouldn't die. That'd probably be preferable. I don't know. I went through my phone and I found numbers of dudes. Them dudes that they just kind of hang. I mean, it's not like they really did anything bad to me. They didn't do anything bad. But I don't know. I just had this epiphany. It's like, why are they still in my phone? So I just went through and blocked a whole bunch of people, about 12, 13 people. Just blocked them. I did that the other day, laying in my bed, just scrolling through and say, oh, yeah, I remember him. Block, block, block. And I didn't really, like I said, they didn't really do anything bad, but I just don't want to be bothered. I just don't want to hear from them. I don't want any contact from them. I don't want them texting me. I just, but if I delete their number, then I know I'll forget and then it'll pop up and then I'll probably answer it, but no, I mean, but even then, I don't want them leaving me a voicemail. I just leave me alone. Just go away. You didn't bring anything positive in my life. So maybe some good look back in the day, but them days been over. So why are you still in my phone? So I blocked them all. I put the link up there so anyone who wants to call in and share a story. It's so lonely here. Yes, they're very insecure. They're very insecure. I mean, you can listen to how they talk. I mean, I just never seen anything like it. I just don't. I swear, if the CDC named low self-esteem like a disease, it'll be on a par with COVID, like a global epidemic, because so many people suffer from it. I'm not sure what to attribute that to. Prime time, I've given it so much thought over the years. What is changed in our society from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where so many young men and women in the 90s going forward have low self-esteem. And the only thing I can think of that changed in our society is the advent of the internet. The internet, where people can pretend to be things that they're not, and they can compare themselves with these, and Photoshop got invented too. Compare themselves to these photoshopped images and feel like they don't measure up to what they're seeing, and like what they're seeing is not even real, but for some reason it goes in their head like it's real. It's the most bizarre thing. But from my perspective, that's the only thing that was a major change in our society, was the internet and all the things that came with it. So I don't have any scientific proof. I didn't do a study or nothing. I just thinking about what's so different, because in my era, we talked on the phone. Now people don't even talk on the phone. They text. They don't talk on the phone. They don't use their phone to talk. So you have a whole generation of young people who lack personal skills in conversation. They don't know how to have a conversation. They don't know how to make small talk. They just don't even know how to converse with people. It's really interesting. So when you meet a young person who does, that person stands out like, oh my God, you know how to have a conversation. You like a novel creature. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The social media, but none of that existed before the internet. Actually, social media didn't come along until like the late 90s. What we call social media. What was that site called? Where everybody had a page. I forgot what it's called. It wasn't AOL, it was something. I can't remember. But everybody had a page and bands would be on stuff. And then Facebook got invented and it was been all downhill ever since. MySpace, yes, thank you. Yes, MySpace. That was the first social media site. And then Facebook came along and just wiped poor MySpace out. But yeah, before that, I mean, people had AOL, but they didn't have any. You couldn't. It wasn't like it was. You could post your own pictures and do all this stuff. It was where you interact with people. I don't know how AOL is now. I haven't been on it in 20 years, but yeah, at the time, MySpace was a thing where you could post pictures about yourself and chat with people and just talk and if you're a band or something, you could upload music and you could talk and introduce yourself, make a sound file. I mean, it was like a novel thing. It was unique, so everybody flocked to MySpace. And there's some other sites that came up kind of like that, but they were mostly message boards and stuff like that. But still, yeah, Black Planet. Black Planet was after MySpace though. But yeah, that was one. And there was this site called Cafe Los Negros. These dudes out of New York ran it. And that was pretty novel too, but I don't know what happened to them. They went out of business. Oh, somebody, what'd she say? Oh, yes. Well, welcome, Tiff. Tiff joined the party. Yeah, so let's talk about another aspect of disrespect that's real common. Hold on, uh let me pick one of these. What do you think about when people make a promise to you and then they don't keep it? One thing I've noticed, and I don't know if this is with women of all races, but I see Black women will have a plan B and C. It's like they know the man's not going to come through. So they line up their sister, their brother, their daddy, and stuff as backup because they already know the dude is a flake. Okay, now, sisters, you have a man that you're giving your love and support to, your body to, sharing your time with him, and he doesn't come through for you when you need him. What the hell are you doing? There should be nothing that you give him or stay with him. Oh, not, he should get not one more second of your time. You can't keep a promise to me for some little basic stuff. How am I going to trust you to keep like a marriage vow or something? You can't even show up when you say you're going to show up. You don't call when you say you're going to call. You show up at my house and saying you was going to bring some wine and you don't even do that. How you think I'm going to love you and put my trust and belief in you and stay with you? How is that even supposed to work? I be looking at these women like, what are you thinking? And then they be mad, well, he did this and he did that. I say, but he never showed you that he was that kind of man. He was been raggedy day one. Not raggedy, from day one. And you just for some reason, just stay stuck. And you just want to keep on hoping and praying and wishing that he's going to be something different than what he is. I just don't get it. I don't understand. I think it was, okay, now let's talk about this respect too. Okay, I think this was Vanna sent me this article link where this church was charging its employees, taking 10% of their salary against their wish and making them tithe to the church. I'd have burnt that fucking church down. You better give me my damn money. I'm not church tithing shit to you. Where is my monies? Either that, I'm gonna start pilfering stuff out this church to make up for that difference in salary. So I'm gonna be selling your Bibles on eBay and shit. Say I need money. Yeah, so they had to sue them and everything. But still, I mean, isn't that like where they do that at? I was shocked. Every time I think I've heard it all, here comes some new bullshit, some new flavor of bullshit. And it's always some folks that you least expect. Like you want to believe church folks is good, but Remember, I'm the one that wrote the book about the black church. I just have never believed in churches. But when you see stuff like this, them poor devastated people thinking they was doing all good, working for their church and stuff, and getting robbed to the tune of 10% against their will every paycheck. I'm like, wow. Yeah. I mean, that's some balls. Remember bringing a stack of needles with the hope that a snake was in it. Huh? Oh, dang it. Well, dad was kind of a savage. Yep, he sure did. And he left my house hungry as hell. I know my house was smelling good with that shrimp and chicken and sausage jambalaya simmering on the stove, garlic bread on the side, nice salad. And he didn't get to eat nothing. He went home hungry. Not hungry, hong with an O. Hungry. Yeah, but I mean, you know what I mean? Okay, just think about this. Let's just roll through this. Now, he promised me to bring the wine, right? He didn't bring the wine. So he didn't get no food because that was what I promised. So you fail your promise, that nullifies the contract. So if I don't get to feed you no more because you didn't hold up your end of the bargain. See, that's how I think. So he sitting there smirking. He had the smirk on his face, like, yeah, well, so like what you gonna do about it? And I just like I caught it, because that's what I do. And so I was like, that expression wasn't one of real, you know, apology or anything. He just like he got away with something. I'm like, oh, is that what we doing? So when he went in the couch, I put all my stuff away. All the things, got my little Tupperware out and put all my stuff in the refrigerator. And so then he's sitting there, right? I come and I sit next to him and he's like, oh, well, yeah, when the food gonna be ready? I said, oh, the food's put up. He's like, what? When is we gonna serve the food? I said, I'm not giving you shit because you didn't bring the wine. That was what used to be your contribution to the dinner. So since you didn't bring that, that means no dinner for you. So he got mad, so he left. I'm like, bye. But let's just run through that. What would have happened if there was a pivotal moment there? So he comes through the door with that smirk on his face. It's like, he kind of grin. And I didn't, I just went on and served the food and just treated him all regular, like he did what he was supposed to do. What message would I have sent him? And so I want to run through this with you guys, because a lot of you don't understand what when a situation like this, you might think, well, it's just dinner, it's just a bottle of wine, it's no big deal. Oh, it's a big deal, all right, because he promised me that he was going to do something and then he didn't do it. And not only did he not do it, he was acting like the shit was funny, like he got away with something because he didn't do it. Okay, so now if I just imagine, okay, so he comes in, oh, I don't have no wine. Like where's the wine? Oh, I didn't bring it. So now instead of me saying, okay, and doing what I did, I would be like, oh, that's okay. We'll just still have a nice dinner anyway, without the wine. And I would have rummaged in the refrigerator and got something out that I bought and then drank that and probably given him some too, since he was my guest. So he wouldn't have contributed anything to this meal, just brought himself over there with an empty stomach. And I would have done everything, including buying the shrimp, chicken, and sausage. And the shrimp is expensive. And Douai sausage is not cheap either. And then standing over the hot stove, cooking all of that. And then he didn't contribute anything except his appetite. And I just treated him regular and rewarded his negative behavior with the thing that he should have gotten only when he felt working. Do you guys see how this goes? And unfortunately, a lot of you are like this with your kids too. They don't do what they're supposed to do, and you still reward them. You still let them go out. You still let them give them money. You still take them to the movies or let them go with their friends or something. Oh, no, no, no. You going into lockdown. Your ass is going to think you on that show scared straight because you ain't going nowhere. You're going to be held prisoner in this house. And guess what? I'm about to put your ass on the chain gang. You're going to be dusting, mopping, and sweeping, and you're going to wish that you had done what I told you to do. Because now you're going to do 10 times that much. That's how I do things. Yeah, I didn't let my daughter get away with a trick. Nope. Not doing it. And it's like, if I'm not going to do it with a little kid, then how am I going to do it with a grown man? You going to do what the fuck you tell me you going to do. And if you don't do it, then there's going to be immediate and swift and heavy repercussions, like your stomach's, it's the size of your stomach going to be touching. I'm not feeding you. You can starve, motherfucker, for all I care. So, that's what, yeah, the store was right across the street from my house, and he could have walked there, but he didn't want to do it. That wasn't the point. The point was he did that intentionally. I caught it because that smirk on his face was the telling thing. Because anybody who was sincerely apologetic would have been like, oh shit, I forgot. Where's the nearest store? And he would have turned around, got back in his car, and went and got it and come back, and we could have had a nice evening. But no, that's not what happened. So I didn't feel like I was under any obligation to feed him my expensive food. Nope. So I just wanted to sample of, yeah, he thought that exactly. That's what they do. And that's how they do in relationships. And you guys let them get away with it. And there's varying reasons for that. Like we said, some girls grew up in homes where they had to learn to just go along to get along because, domestic violence or whatever. And, so I'm not saying that it's your, the mindset that you have is your fault. What I'm saying, though, is as an adult, you're not a little kid anymore. You're not helpless anymore. You're not dependent on your parents like that anymore. You got your own job. You got your own spot. You paying your own bills. You got your education. You doing stuff on your own. Take your ass to a therapist and work through that. Okay, you're letting what happened when you were 7, 8, 10 years old impact the choices and the behaviors that you make today. That is irresponsible, and that means you're not taking care of yourself. You're treating yourself poorly. Get yourself some help so that you can put that behind you and go forward in your life with your head held high and looking people in the eye and not taking no shit from nobody. You don't let people mistreat you like that. You don't need them if they're going to treat you like that. But so many of you don't believe that you don't need them. You think because somebody showed you some niceness that you have to do everything like a little puppy wagging his tail to get them to rub you on the head and stay around and stuff. It's sad to see that, but that's essentially what's going on with so many young women. Ugh, it's just sad, 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 sad. Well, he learned a new lesson. He learned. I don't know what he brought Diamond because he wasn't even going to be that kind of party regardless, but he could have. I don't know. I don't know. Might be, but I don't label people like that because, that's dusty behavior. Now, whether he's a narcissist or not, I don't know. I didn't ask, didn't care because this was before, people started really calling people narcs and stuff on a widespread scale. But it doesn't matter what he was. What it mattered was how he acted and my response to it. So he could have been a narc. He could have been a fark. He could have been a frog. I don't give a shit. That's not really important to me. The important part was how he thought he was going to be able to treat me with such disrespect and my response to it. You see what I mean? So we're not going to focus on what he was. That's not really part of the scenario, and it's irrelevant. What it is, the only thing that counts is that he was disrespectful. No matter what, label you want to put on it, he was disrespectful. And so Deb wants to please his Deb. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. So these men be talking about stuff. Well, what you cooking? You guys talking about, well, what you cooking? What you need to know for? Well, I was going to come through and get a plate. Well, did anybody invite you to come get through and get a plate? Well, no. But then, nigga, you ain't coming through to get shit. Let me just be blunt. Well, damn, you don't have to be like that. Well, obviously I do, because you're trying to run game and think you might gonna be feeding your hungry ass. I'm not feeding you. You better go to Everett Jones or McDonald's or something and make the magic happen. That don't have nothing to do with me. With your stomach being hungry. That don't have shit to do with me. While I'm sitting there smacking on whatever I have to cook. Oh, I made some more navy bean soup. It was so good. You can't let them get away with nothing. I'm telling you. I learned that from my auntie. Nothing. Something as small as that's the auntie I told you about who used to walk around. Okay, this is her. Let me find something that can pretend to be a cigarette. This is my auntie with her cigarette. This is my auntie with her brandy or boo her hen. This was her pose. Burning cigarette and her drink. I never saw that woman without a glass in her hand. Never. And the cigarettes, I mean, sometimes she would do this because she would be talking with her hands or slapping her kid upside the head or something. She had to keep one hand free. But generally, and then she back like this, and that's how she walked around. So there's all this smoke trailing her, and she didn't really smoke the cigarette; it just would burn in the air. But that was my auntie Alma, honey, my father's second oldest sister. She was something else. She's the one who told me that the world revolves around dick and pussy, and don't ever think anything else. She told me that when I was about 12, and I was like, "What? What are you saying?" But turns out she was right. Oh, yeah, it is very disrespectful. Then they just show up, right? They show up and you didn't invite them. They just show up at your house. I had a dude do that. Oh, did his feelings ever get hurt? Because I had somebody else up in the house, a different man. And so he's come knocking on the door. You know me. I'm gonna open the door. I'm like, "What you doing here?" And he's like, "Oh, I was just in the neighborhood." I said, "Where are you now? You want to come in?" Such a bitch. And so then he's like, "Well, sure." He thought he was gonna come in and I guess slide between them sheets or something. So he was on the corner going to the living room, and here's this other fine motherfucker sitting there. And you should have seen his face. Well, both of them was looking stupid. And he's like, "Well, who is that?" I said, "Why is that your business? Am I your woman?" "Well, no, but," I said, "then don't be asking questions you don't really want the answer to. So you want a beer? What you gonna do? We watching the game." So he stayed for a little while looking all stricken because I guess he didn't want to just run out because it would have made him feel, like he was a wuss or something. So he probably stayed about 20, 30 minutes, maybe at the most. Ate a little snack or two, drank a beer, and then he left. But I tell you, that'll teach you to be showing up at my house. Don't do that. That's not how you should operate. Yes, you must. You must pay attention to what's going on around you. My head be on a swivel when I'm by myself. Button say she over there cackling. Yeah. Yeah, just come on in. Let me introduce you. You should have seen his face. His face was seriously that word, that phrase, cracked his face. His face was cracked. And I was like, "We are not a couple, sir. Don't get it twisted. You can only be showing up at somebody's house if that, you know what I mean? Y'all a couple. You know. Sometimes you got keys to each other's house. You don't even knock on the door. You just open it with your key. Well, that's a different kind of situation. We didn't have it like that. And it wasn't never going to be like that because he used to get on my nerves. Yes, it was a G move, I suppose so. Because they both was looking stupid. And I was just sitting there like, I ain't dating. I was like, I'm not either one of y'all's woman. So what y'all tripping about? Don't be trying to have a male pissing contest over some shit that don't belong to you. He probably still remembers that day. I know another, and the same dude one time. Oh, what did he do? I can't remember what he did. I cussed his ass out. So, and this dude was like 6'5", and I'm 5'5". Okay, I stood up and he was bending over, looking at me, and I'm reaching up in his face. I'm doing all this stuff here. I cussed him out so hard, And so then he just just standing there, just looking all stricken. And he was every kind of black monkey. And I just went off on him. I forgot what he did though. But anyway, he was like, he was in his feels. I didn't use that phrase then, but now just exactly what it was. He was breathing all funny and looking all faced all twisted up. I can't believe you talk to me like that. And keep in mind, this man had a baritone voice. His voice is deep as hell, but he got high pitched in that moment. I can't believe you talk to me like that. How can you talk to me like that? You just cuss me out. You just treat me like I'm nothing. And I'm like, and yet you stay. I wasn't bothered. That's like, I know your bitch ass will be back tomorrow for more. So what you complaining for? He was. You know, I just don't get it. You'll be telling me complaining when you know you love it. I think men love crazy women, to tell you the truth. The crazier you act, the more they be stuck on you. When you act too calm and stuff, they they kind of lose interest. But if you like go off on them, you be slitting their tires and doing all kind of crazy shit, showing up their house, throwing rocks through the windows and stuff. They just can't get enough of you. They just cannot get enough because you bring the drama, you bring the heat, you keep his mind so engaged. He just can't stop thinking about you. That's been the case with every woman who I know is a nut. The dudes just can't leave her alone. This cannot, and these are some decent dudes. I mean, like engineers and nurses, male nurses and stuff. I mean, they got careers, they doing big things. Stuck with these crazy bitches, and they just keep staying with them. Just won't leave them alone. They break up and they get back together. He just can't get enough of her. I'm like, you better than me, because I would have moved to the other side of the world to get away from her crazy ass. I just can't do it. Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, you can challenge it, but you don't have to be crazy. These bras be nuts. If you look at a woman and she's your friend, I mean, you love her and everything, but you say, the way you treat dude, you not wrapped too tight. And they just keep doing it anyway. That's how you know that's a fool. That's a fool. And I just be like, got to kind of leave them alone. Because I don't want them to get crazy with me, because then that'd be two crazy women in the same situation. That's not going to work. It's not. Because this crazy one over here likes to shoot. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm going to just shoot you. And so, then I'll be in prison, and it's just like arrested, and Shay'll be setting up a GoFundMe to get me out. And then I'll be trying to stream from a phone in the prison. And like, oh, y'all, look, I'm in lockup. I'm in cell 92. And here's my yeah, I just think about that kind of stuff. And then I decide maybe it's just better just not to be involved with crazy people. So that's what I do. Yes, I do love them. My daddy used to tell me that. They love it. And he also said that crazy women have the best nook. And I'm like, how do you know that? He just laughed. I'm like, inquiring minds want to know. Yeah, I'm in D block. Yeah, I'm trying to do all that. So let me just leave your crazy ass alone. Because crazy people get you in a situation, they like to mouth, or they be popping off at the mouth. And then you with them, right? And it's only the two of you, and then you didn't bring your piece with you because, they want to search you before you go into these events and stuff. So, your piece is in the car. And you on your way to the car, but you ain't made it to the car yet. And then here she go popping off at the mouth and causing drama. It's two of you, and it's like four of them. And both of you can fight and stuff, but it's like, do I really want to go through all of this? I'm looking cute. I got my heels on and stuff. Why do I want to be fighting like this? And plus, I'm 30 now. I'm not trying to do this. That was the last time this one could. Ever since then, I changed my friends. I don't have crazy friends anymore. But yeah, I remember that, thinking about that. It's like, she gonna give me, either I'm gonna get my ass beat, or I'm gonna go make it to my car, and then I'm gonna be in prison for life for killing somebody. So which one is it? So that's what I decided after we made it out of that situation. I wasn't gonna go out with her no more, and I didn't. She just be talking too much. She get that fire water in her and start going crazy. I cannot with you. Anybody got something you want to say? You can call in. You can call in and you can talk about that. Let's talk about how come women don't set boundaries. Why do so many women have trouble setting boundaries? What's y'all's opinion on that? We did a whole February, what was that, 2021? February 2021 about boundaries. We didn't do February this year because your girl over here just could not handle the demands. And I don't know. We'll see how I feel next year. But yeah, I'm still in recovery, so that wasn't gonna happen. But what do y'all think about that? I'm shocked at how the stuff that women take, the way that they let people touch them, talk to them, mistreat them, take them for granted, use their stuff, just their resource. I mean, just they never say no, and they just don't put up any limits. There's no limitations, no boundaries to what they will and will not accept. What is that about? Is this some more stuff that's learned at home where you don't get to put up boundaries? Oh, you think any attention is good attention? Yeah, I was thinking that too in Watson. It probably has a lot to do with that because it's shocking how many girls have stories of abuse. Sometimes that they never told anybody, but yeah, it's just rare to find a girl who's never had anything happen, even if she wasn't, physically touched. She witnessed something, she heard something, somebody showed her something, she saw something she shouldn't have seen. Something happened. Some man did something he shouldn't have done. And so just about every little girl has been affected by that kind of stuff, and that's abuse. Hmm. Well, they haven't made it to my channel because I'm gonna tell you, you think about it. What benefits do women get from relationships these days? Shit, you get worked like a damn slave and you get rode like a horse. You don't get any thanks for it. And you get used up and you put last in every situation. I'm like, what is the point of all of that? Especially with kids. You married and stuff and thinking you're gonna have some help, and that's why you didn't want to be a baby mama, which I still don't advocate, but unless you got the right kind of man, it's no point. She says, I have never benefited from a relationship with a man. I think if more women were honest, they would say that too. Because, if you think about even the nook don't be on hit. They be raggedy in the bed and then had a nerve to be talking about, you won't give me any. Why should I? It's just going to be a big fucking disappointment. Just messing up my hair and my sheets for no goddamn reason. That 30-second shit you be putting down. Nobody want that. That's just a waste of time. Just something to get somebody mad. Get out of here. And then they want to threaten you. Well, I'll go somewhere else. Bye. Take your shit with you when you go so you don't come back. Yeah, it just amazes me how these dudes like to think that they're such a prize. It's like, who told you that? Then they wonder why all the dudes, they like, all the women just like the thugs. That's because the thugs be putting it down and don't be getting on our goddamn nerves with their feels, whining all the damn time. A manly man is attractive to women. Not saying I would want to be with a thug, but I'm explaining what the attraction is. They don't bitch and moan. They don't complain. They do what they gonna do, and then they talk a little smack and make some jokes. They make you laugh. They're entertaining. They always got some shit going on that keeps your mind like, and so they're more interesting than you. That's why. And then they put it down between the sheets too. So what's not to like? Now I'm not saying get to be have women get married, try to call it your man and all that kind of stuff. They're strictly for a good time. And if you're the kind of woman who can separate those two, love and nook, then you can have it made. You can have the best of both worlds. But if you the kind of think you got to be in love with the nook, well, then you're gonna have a problem if you wanna dealing with them Tyrone and Toby types. That's not gonna work. Yep. It's been in my lifetime where married women could have their own credit. My lifetime. This is not that long ago. So all these, young girls talking about, I'm not a feminist. You a dumb bitch. That's what you are. You don't even know what your mothers and grandmothers and stuff had to go through. And you sitting up here now trying to put them down for the stuff that they had to go through to achieve the environment where you can now be free to be who and what you want to be. They fought for you for these rights and these opportunities that your little dumbass has. You sitting up there talking about, I'm not a feminist because you're trying to kiss up to some motherfucker on the internet. Stupid. Mm-hmm. With that tired dang-a-lang. Well, most of them, even if they do call themselves providing, you doing most of the provide for yourself. A lot of women make more than their husbands anyway, your boyfriends. Please. They wish there was a man shortage. They wish. But again, this is some stuff. Like I said, all of this is happened because of the internet. Before the internet in the 90s, they did not have the opportunity to spread such garbage far and wide like they do. These dudes have platforms where they act stupid. Like in the early 90s, man, it was just like a wild west. I tell you, I struggled with the knuckleheads so much. They used to gang up on me and just, make videos about me and stuff. They all got banned off of YouTube eventually, but they would make these like harassment videos and stuff. And, so you steady reporting them to YouTube. I guess they got new management or something. Maybe they got sued. So they finally locked all that stuff down and started kicking those guys off of YouTube. So they couldn't do that anymore. And so I don't know where they all went, but whatever. It used to be crazy. I mean, they just went out of their way to harass women, especially the sisters. There's no shortage of men. Don't even believe that. Because it's like this. How do I put this? I'm trying to think of a polite way to put this. There are a lot of women focus on the same type of guy. They have this fantasy of a man being perfect who has this little checklist stuff here. But if more women open their eyes to look at the qualities, it's nice to have a man who makes a lot of money and all stuff, but that's not really what's going to keep you happy in a relationship. You have to look for more intrinsic value to the man. Is he the kind that remembers what you say to him? Are you important to him? Does he respect you? Does he love you and your mother and your kids that you had by your ex? Does he step in and just be a friend and a partner to you and to, a real figure to those kids that they need that they don't have already? Does he listen to you? Do you guys work well together as a team? Does he deliver the nook? Is he friendly and funny? Do you have a good time when you're with him? Can you talk to him about stuff? He doesn't really listen to you. So, those kind of things that was going to make you excited about being with a man long term. But too many young women haven't been taught that. So they've only been taught to look at stuff like how much money he makes, what he look like, what kind of car, just silly stuff. Silly stuff. But I'm telling you, better look within. You better look within. I mean, as long as he's not a Gila monster, you know what I mean? You don't want to have somebody who's got some like toe up from the floor up looking like a troglodyte and be trying to have kids with him. That's not going to work. Yep. You're right. That's it. But a relationship, a good relationship, a healthy relationship is supposed to enrich you and uplift you and make you feel like you have a home base. That's the way I used to describe it. Like I have a home base. And I can go out into the world and I can do battle and I can cuss and fuss and act a fool. And then I retreat to my home base where I regroup, where I'm juiced up, where I'm cared for, where I'm protected. And then I could go back in the world and do battle again. So the home base has to feel safe. It has to be a place of energy and protectiveness, positivity, loving care and concern for you and each other, so that you provided it to each other. That's the home base. If you don't have that, what the fuck are you doing with that man? You come home, it's always some bullshit, fuss and fight. He ain't working, he don't have no money. You stress the hell out. The kids are raggedy. You got to deal with his ex and his baby mamas and his raggedy mother and all this stuff. You're constantly stressed out. You don't have a home base. I don't know what the hell you have. But that's the way I always looked at it. That's what I described it. That's what I told my husband. That's how it felt to me. He thought that was interesting, but that's what I felt like. You know, like Star Trek. I'm going to the home base or whatever they used to call it. And you restock, you resupply, you rest, you make repairs, you do all that kind of stuff, right? That's the safe space. And if you are as a woman call yourself having a man and you don't have a safe space, it's not a place where you recharge and get, love and support and stuff at home. What's wrong with you? What are you doing? Why are you treating yourself like that? I don't understand. I don't get it. No, they booted me off of their page, and so I don't have nothing to say to them. They didn't want to hear what I had to say on their page, so fuck them. Let's see here. I don't have no. Hello.
Hi,
Yep.
Deb. How are you?
I'm fine. What's happening?
Oh man, I'm glad that you're doing the show. And I like the little I can't say little, but the Friday night ladies night talk show because it feels like girls getting together just talking
Yeah.
about their experiences. It feels refreshing to be like a female doing I don't like a woman doing womanly things. We don't have spaces like this.
Yeah. That's why we started doing. I did it one time, and I don't know. It just went so well. People just seemed to really enjoy it. So then I try to do it like once a month.
I was kind of scared to call in, but I guess I'm here now. But I do want to share like a story of disrespect, and why I started to respect myself and stuff like that. So this
Okay,
this
I'm all ears. That sounds good.
so
Share,
this
share.
okay. So this is my story. So I broke up I broke up with my boyfriend for like 8 years or whatever, and I was just really sad about it. So I thought I wanted to do casual sex, get some nook as you said. So me and this guy, now we went on like a few dates if you could call that, and he did some disrespectful things like touch me without asking and stuff like that. One
Oh,
Yeah, another one was like his nails, it was like raggedy, like they weren't trimmed or cut. There was one of them looked broken off, looked like he didn't have hygiene or something like that. I told him to cut his nails. He did that too. um so like so we only slept together like twice. The first time I went to his house, his bathroom was dirty. It was just nasty. I'm just talking about stuff dripping down the toilet. The only thing I could use in that bathroom was a mirror, barely, because it was cloudy and stuff. Okay, so the reason why I had to like cut him out of my life or whatever was like the second time we slept together, he came to my house because it's clean. So he's like, so I'm just sleeping or whatever, and next thing I know, I felt like I guess an elbow or something to the tip of my head. So of course I woke up out of my sleep and I turned over. I saw him like I guess turning over. I guess as he was sleeping, I said loud enough, yeah, you hit me. He told me shut up. So I said it again because I'm like I'm coming out of my sleep. I guess he's coming out of his sleep. You hit me. Shut up. So after that, he was out of my life, and I ignored all his calls and stuff like that, his texts and stuff like that. And he even like tried to pop up at my door and stuff like that one day, and I was like, no, I told you I'm not interested in you anymore. And I guess that's the last time I saw him because I guess he thought I was joking or whatever. But weird how the way I looked at it is like if you could just quote unquote accidentally hit me in my sleep, and when I tell you about it and you tell me shut up, who to say you won't do that on purpose and tell me shut up? So there you go.
Good job. There you go. Well, see, that's what he thought you was gonna be so stuck on him that you would just let him get away with it or just brush it off and say, "Oh, he was asleep. He didn't mean it." Nobody hit somebody with their elbow accidentally in their sleep.
It was
That
too
does not
hard
happen.
to say it accidentally because
Right.
I still felt it was sore. But I guess because I mean we only slept together twice. I guess he thought he was good in bed, but I mean he was like not all that. He was mediocre, so whatever.
Yeah. Bye, boy. Bye. Well,
Yeah.
good job. I'm glad you had enough strength to do that, though. Good job. You took care of business and took care of yourself, and that's the main thing.
And that's why I found you because I had to learn boundaries and self respect and all that good stuff. So that was a good thing and a bad thing that happened because it taught me something.
Yeah, I mean, I know that wouldn't be, getting all knocked upside your noggin. It's not necessarily the best thing, but you handled it well. So good,
He
good
knocked some
job.
sense into me.
All right, girl. Thanks for calling in.
Okay, have a great night.
Okay, bye bye. She's funny. Yeah, I don't know what I would do. Somebody come knock to me, I'd probably pick up something and bop him. I have so much weaponry in my house. I don't know. And a bad temper. So by the time I thought about it, I probably would, dude would be bleeding, have knots on his head or something. Then I'd be like, oh, that was an accident. Sorry. I'll take you to the hospital now. You know, who knows about all this stuff? Yeah, I'm going to. Anybody else have a comment that you want to make? Because we did an hour and a half. That's usually about how long we do these shows. We're a little over. Women intuition is powerful. It is if women pay attention to it and don't poo-poo it. Don't say, "Oh, I shouldn't think that. Oh, that's mean. Oh, I shouldn't be like that." Don't second guess yourself. If something telling you that a situation is bad or a person is risky, dangerous, or something like that, please listen. Please listen to yourself. Please trust yourself. If something doesn't feel right, get yourself out of there. Get yourself out of there. Call a friend, call a cab, call an Uber, call a Lyft. Do something to get yourself up out of that situation. You can even call the police and say, I'm being held against my will. And they'll come. I can't get out. They won't let me leave. Because sometimes it is like that. So, just think about that kind of stuff. That's why I don't be going to dudes' houses, going to your house. I think about I used to do some of that when I was younger. But you know what cured me that time I told you about that dude that I was messing with and went to it was his auntie's house. But it was in the deep, dark recesses of East Oakland, a part that I never even knew it. And like in the cut by like some railroad tracks or some shit. I don't even remember where I was. It was nighttime. And some little street with like a dead end against. It was just like so hood and so no. And that's where they lived in that part in the back where he slept with his cousin, and they had like a blanket, like hanging up in the middle of the room or sheet or some kind of fabric, and it was dividing the room so they could have a little bit of privacy, I guess, as they changed clothes or whatever. But anyway, yeah, they had, the two guys shared one room on the back of this house, and it was not like a built to code kind of thing. It was like some makeshift shanty looking room. There was an add-on to the auntie's house. It was cold, and I'm looking around because I'm looking and I'm thinking, shit, it's gonna be critters and shit coming up in here because it was like by a field and railroad tracks and stuff. So, like the wild animals be living out there, the little tiny little field mice and stuff, snakes and whatnot. So Deb is looking because I'm trying to see, is it going to be something coming up in here? I need to run. So I stayed for about 5 minutes and I left. I'm like, well, told Auntie, you have a lovely home. And then I left. I did pretend to have some home training. And then after that, I told you, well, we can't go to your auntie's house no more. Mm-mm. It's not like I be trying to act sedity or anything, I mean, people, I have family that's not too well off. You know what I mean? It's not that. It's just the way that it looked, and it was like it's because you could be a person without much money, but you don't have to just live like it's in the depression era. So I mean, it just was. I couldn't. I just could not. I couldn't do it. That's just not me. So you guys got any closing comments? Anything you want to say? We might do a Sunday sermon if I can get my act together, because I still have a couple of shows I want to do, but I've been stuck on trying to make shorts out of some of my other content. So that's what I'd be doing every weekend, sitting there going through videos and extracting clips and making shorts. So it takes hours. No, the aunt lived there. It probably looked like one, but I've never been in one, so I can't really say what it looked like. But no, it was just like, like somebody in the neighborhood made a room on the back of her house for these two boys so they could have a place to live. That's what it looked like. It was just awful. I'm like, oh no, Deborah cannot stay here. I got to go. It's just not going to happen. So anyway, you guys, well, we'll be back hopefully next Tuesday, but probably not till Wednesday again, because that seems to be our day with Miss Candace these days. If you want to submit a question to What the Fuck Tuesday, the way the show works is people send in their questions in advance. You can find the form to submit a question for a future show yourself at debsterism.com. It's debsterism.com, the same channel as the YouTube channel here, and the name of the channel on Twitch as well. And you fill out the form and you send your question in. We don't guarantee that your question will be picked, but if it has widespread appeal or if it's just kind of like really off the wall crazy, then most likely we'll get selected. And then we put them in a document. My cousin Candace handles that part of the show. I do the advice and reading the questions and responding to them part. So it's kind of a team effort. So there you go. That's how you submit your question. And that's the show that we do every week. And that'll be coming up next. But make sure you hit the subscribe button and instant notification in case I do sit down on Sunday and decide I have something to say. And I'll show up and we have our usual conversation. So you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a good Saturday. And keeping our fingers crossed, I'll see you on Sunday. And if not, then on Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever Candace gets her stuff together. Bye-bye. Thanks, Shay. Thanks, everybody.